What made the popular guy girl lose their popularity? She started a fight with another popular girl over something petty. The other popular girl, unbeknownst to us all, practiced a martial art and delivered with one hand the most beautiful, graceful punch that I have ever had the pleasure of seeing whilst pulling out a chunk of hair with the other. The other girl was suspended and skyrocketed higher than ever, while the popular girl who started the fight became little more than a laughingstock with a temporary bald spot. A popular boy cried in class during a discussion about a recent tragedy because someone that was close to him died in said tragedy. He got relentlessly bullied for the short time afterward that he was at that school. He was a good kid that didn't deserve any of that. I really hate middle school kids sometimes. Popular girl was driving drunk on the way to school and caused a pretty bad accident involving 3 other cars. She spilled liquor on herself and slammed on her brakes in a line of cars. Her car managed not to have a scratch. She swapped seats with her passenger in front of everyone before cops arrive. A few minutes later we realize she has disappeared. She had slipped into another car that had stopped to see if everyone was okay. Several people ended up getting tickets and her passenger ended up getting a DUI. She was unpopular until graduation. Kid made a video for a school project, which he played in front of the class. Project video ended and cut to him beating his meat. He was a freshman. He spent the remainder of HS known only as the cameraman. He was popular among the group of people he was associated with. I don't think he was super popular or anything. Punk grunge kid. All his popularity went out the window when he went out the window of his car after he crashed it into a building because he was huffing paint and speeding down the road with one of the group's popular girls. Thankfully she survived. But from what I recall he wasn't remembered so fondly after that. Him and another kid from our school got busted for picking up 2 middle school girls from the local mall and taking them to a motel. He used to be the class clown and on the announcements and everything. But the dude was an untouchable from then on. I don't even remember if he graduated. This senior got suspended cause he had a freshman in the parking lot. Sounds like he wasn't trying hard to not get caught. He had a dog. We had 2 or 3 over the 4 years get pregnant. They no longer went to all the parties with a kid to look after. 2 or 3? We had 46 girls walk across the stage pregnant at my graduation. There was a daycare practically attached to the high school so students could go to school after having kids and just drop their kid off there during the day. One girl I know got her tubes tied at 22 after her 5th kid. I went to the same school as the kids of the Prime Minister of my country at the time. I didn't know the daughter too well, but apparently she went from being popular to being bullied out of the school when her dad lost the election. It was pretty sad that people starting hating on her for something she had no control over. Word got out that this kid stole from his grandparents for drug money. This one popular girl in HS got so drunk at a party that she just started ting herself everywhere. Some friends drove her home and she did it again in the back seat. Not easily forgotten. But it was one of those things no one would say anything about, it's just that the entire school knew by Monday afternoon. What a party pooper. Edit. I love all you poop heads who gave this an obscene amount of awards. She got pregnant and had to quit cheerleading. The football players didn't want her anymore and her popularity took a hit. Plus the other girls were very judgmental. Did I just read the Glee plotline? Throwing in the hall on people's lockers. Her mom came to a school meeting and told everyone she suffers from mild autism. Damn, that's pretty Ed. Making fun of somebody's dad when they were diagnosed with cancer. That's going to drop your approval ratings somewhat. You and I went to very different schools. Becoming the small fish at university. Nothing humbles you like going from a school with a class size of 300 to a university with 30. They were brother and sister. Let's call them Eric and Megan. Eric was in his senior year and a couple months from graduating. He was a jock, an idiot and an absolute tool. Megan was a sophomore. She was actually nice. They were both very popular and reasonably attractive. Their friends would make comments about how hot their sibling was, etc. The two of them, for some made-up reason, made a PR note together and showed it to their friends. Somehow they were surprised when this led to being socially exiled. Megan ended up being sent to live with her grandparents about 1,000 miles away. This kind of stuff was not uncommon in the area I grew up in. Meth and incest are quite rampant in rural Vermont. But no one wants to acknowledge that. Also, this was only a few years ago. He whipped his dick out during class and put it on the shoulder of the girl who was sitting in the desk in front of him. He got kicked out immediately and I believe charges pressed for sexual assault. We were a couple of weeks from graduating too. Freshman year of high school. Very popular guy who was the it kid freshman phenom WR on a nationally ranked team. We were all leaving class one day. He randomly decided it was a good idea to make fun of a very well-loved handicapped guy who was dying of his condition, some advanced form of water on the brain if I remember correctly, and even decided to punch him. This knocked the poor kid to the ground. About 10 guys immediately jumped him. A shop teacher saw it, the WR getting his, happen and let it continue for a minute before stopping things. MR. Popular got quite messed up in that short window. Kicked off team. Expelled. Moved schools in a move that I'm guessing was a way to start over at a new school. Never heard from him again. Went from pep rally king to degenerate outcast in 5 minutes. I had a front row seat and was one of 50 plus who testified to the school admins. The victim passed away later that school year from his condition. You almost never heard him speak. But when he did, he was always kind and thoughtful. They lost their place to a kind and warm-heated sweet girl with a very sunny and positive vibe. Suddenly everyone was around her and not around the popular kid bully. Guy wasn't exactly extremely popular to begin with, but was well known. He punched some girl at my school in the face for no reason at a concert. Shortly after this, there was news that he rolled his brand new Camaro going 95 in a 45. This caused him and another guy at our school a lot of injuries. His friend lost his entire ear in the accident. And this was right after they stole beer from Kroger. They were drunk driving. Anyways, people kept their distance after this. Another kid that comes to mind was someone very popular in our grade. One of my friends went over to his house and used his computer without his permission. My friend ended up finding terabytes of child PRN on his PC. From what I heard, the FBI even got involved. He never was seen at school again after that. As soon as school ended, everyone stopped pretending to like her. A girl in my hometown was always picking on this guy in her class, making fun of his last name, picking on his mom and his little brother. Nothing physically. I think people just thought it was a bit of ribbing, nothing so bad anyone felt the need to intervene. Then one day, his family was in a car accident, and he was the only one to survive. When he came back to school, she said something like, "Couldn't even get dying right." Insert name she used to pick on him. It was so bad after that she switched schools. But her reputation followed her. She tried rushing a sorority in college, but wouldn't ya know. She was ARPed and became incredibly withdrawn. Instead of getting her help or alerting the adults, everyone just sort of dropped her. Not being a cool kid. I learned about what actually happened years later. Unfortunately, we found out he ducked a dog. He told us the dog licked him when he put peanut butter on his cock. Thought he chucked a duck at a dog for a moment. He was a new kid, but due to his looks, parents' wealth, and sports aptitude, he quickly became popular. Then he made the mistake of bullying a harmless kid who was on the spectrum and was basically the football team's lucky charm. They did not take kindly to that, and he went from being the next big thing to being that kid no one wanted to talk to, and he had to basically bribe people to keep them around. A guy was bragging for like a solid week about how he slept with like 3 girls at the school. Turns out 2 of them got pregnant. That was really bad luck. But that wasn't what made him unpopular. What made him unpopular was that one of the pregnant girls was known as the innocent religious girl and genuinely wanted to wait until marriage before having sex. Her friends started questioning why she changed her standards so suddenly. Turns out she was ARPed. Word got out that the guy ARPed his girlfriend. And all of his popular friends try to defend it. Just happened recently and it's still weird. Since people either hate him or say he made a mistake. There was another guy who was more known than popular. And he just got booked in for ARPing a 12-year-old. Tall. Good looking. Foreign exchange student showed up 1 year with a killer smile and some impressive soccer skills. Never thought I'd see schoolgirls giggle and follow around boys in a crowd like they do in TV shows, but this guy made it happen. He abruptly stopped showing up one day after a few months. Don't know 100% what happened. But the rumor was that he got sent back for putting some pretty serious racist symbols in a poetry art project thinking it would be a funny joke. She was a bit of a bitch. Pretty as a picture but dim as a dark room. Once people saw how she really was as a person. i.e. using her looks to get what she wanted and throwing a hissy fit once she didn't get it. Caused people to lose interest real quick. I actually met her about a decade after we graduated and she was a completely different person. Really humble and gentle. Actually a lot more clever than she appeared. No idea what she's doing now. I was the popular girl. Developed full-blown schizophrenia my sophomore year of high school and had a spiral that rivaled a Hollywood movie. By the time I graduated everyone knew me as the weird, crazy witch girl who talked to herself and had no friends. Now I'm out of high school. Stable. On my meds. With people in my life who love me. And I haven't thought about popularity since. Tried to finger a girl at a party in front of everyone. Member of National Honor Society got caught cheating on a final exam. Senior year. Their father bribed the principal by donating a car to be used for school activities. So that they would graduate. Graduation day. Every other member of NHS took off their robe before crossing the stage to accept their diploma. He was in my grade. We were seniors and it was the last few days of school. Him and some of his buddies, who were also popular but not nearly as much, decided to vandalize the school. At night they spray painted dicks and stuff all over the outside of the place. They also sprayed the words "could have done worse" on the big entryway doors in the front. Well, they got caught. Their punishment? None of them graduated. They all had to repeat the year. Everyone thought they were idiots after that. According to one of my friends who was a grade younger, many people would say could have done better to them in passing. I was somewhat part of that crowd and God. Was there a lot of drama. One of the girls got shunned by practically our whole grade after it was revealed that she slept with the boyfriend of this other really well liked girl. They were the it couple. She got lots of judgment about it. Though somehow the guy got away with it without much issue. I almost felt bad for her. But then I didn't. Because the year before she made the Spanish teacher cry by being so rude. And later in the year she was caught cheating in bio and pressuring this really smart girl to give her the answers. She wasn't exactly a good person. Student president called our residential nice girl a bitch. You know. The sweetheart who is kind to everyone. The girl that every guy has a crush on. Small school, so gossip ran through the halls like nothing else. But I've never seen the tables turned so viciously and decidedly. He made fun of some girl's dead father, drug overdose. The other popular kids confronted him about how ed up that was and he lost all of his popularity. I love how it's like there was some popular kid council that revoked his membership. This person had been a compulsive liar to the point where nobody believed a single thing she said. Let's make a list real quick. 1. After her boyfriend had told his friends that he had sex with her, she spread the rumor that she was pregnant and started wearing really baggy clothes. 2. She said she drove to the Super Bowl, which at the time was in Texas, and made it back the next morning for school. We live in Michigan. 3. Said she kissed Tom Brady at said Super Bowl. 4. Started drama and rumors with every person in the school. Edit. Sadly, they lost a fight. He had already lost a lot of popularity from going to state-mandated rehab once. Though the last straw was when he crashed and killed a girl before he made it out of his driveway only a couple months after he got out of mandatory rehab while driving drunk. Used to friends with the guy. But he had a downward spiral and last I heard is still in jail. Don't drink and drive, people, it's not just your life on the line when you make that decision. Went to a private high school that had a middle school as well. The guys who were popular in middle school were typically the center of the popular crowd going into high school. It also helped that they basically got a free in to be on the sports teams freshman year. A group of guys were pretty much the center of popularity for 3 of the 4 years just by sorta being bro douches and flaunting the fact that they got to go to parties and chew dip. Slowly though, everyone sort of just got tired of them and were less insecure about acting like themselves and not trying to fit in. So the douchey bros eventually faded away during senior year into their little clique of 5 dudes who stopped being invited to most of the parties that the rest of the class, many of the kids who used to get bullied included, went to. He pulled a gun on some football players trying to pay a middle school girl. The football players ended up going to prison. Students, teachers, and parents made his life a living hell because he ruined the school's chance to make it to the state football championship. He didn't ruin it. Those other kids did. This is actually kind of sad, but the guy I knew was declared athlete of the century at our school. He was amazing at football, track, rugby, and wrestling. Didn't play hockey though, which was big where I am. But everyone loved this guy because he almost single-handedly won us provincial championships. I hate to bring this into it, but he was also one of 2 black kids at our school, so he had to really break through some prejudices by some of the people there, as it's a small rural community. But then he suffered a gruesome leg injury that ended his career. So when he stopped playing sports, people sort of forgot about him. This was 12 years ago and I actually saw him a few months back. He's doing well. I'm 2 years younger and he was always nice to me. To make it even sadder, last year his brother, another great athlete, took his own life. He didn't go to our school though. He got super high one night, got in his car with his friends. They thought they were getting chased by the police. Ended up losing control of their car and drove it through someone's house. He lost one of his fingers in the accident, but fortunately no one else was seriously harmed. They were all removed from the baseball, etc. teams that they were on. In a related story, a girl who was pretty popular graduated from our high school. Shortly after, she killed someone while driving drunk. Spent a long time in prison. She got pregnant. He was popular for doing dumb pranks and he had a devil-may-care attitude to everything and was really attractive. That wasn't the reason he was popular, but it helped. Then he sprayed his displeasure over his recent breakup with his well-liked girlfriend, who was a kind soul, on her car with spray paint. Suddenly he lost his crew because they felt it was too far. He also rendered himself undateable because he had proved he was unstable and jealous. She started doing hardcore drugs. He farted in the middle of an exam and ended up shitting their pants. Went to prison for raping his 12-year-old mentally challenged sister. I was the popular one until year 11 when my best friend started struggling with depression and became suicidal. Everyone started bullying her after she tried to kill herself. I stuck by her and got her to deactivate her social medias and stayed with her through lunch recess to make sure she didn't get cornered by a certain few girls. For some reason this said literally my whole year group off and they started to attack my social media instead. I kinda just avoided most people in school from then onwards. Admittedly, this popular person didn't lose their popularity, but I will contend that it is the dumbest thing a popular person has ever done. During high school, we all had to read a book about the Holocaust. I don't remember the exact book, but it was an incredible story, obviously in a horrible, yet eye-opening way. After every English class finished reading it, we had a school-wide assembly where an Auschwitz survivor came and spoke about their experiences. It was an incredibly heavy assembly and it was clearly respected. There wasn't any goofing around like normal assemblies. Everyone, including the class clowns, settled down to give this person respect. After their presentation, they opened the floor to general questions. Most people asked pretty tame questions. But this particular popular person raised their hand and asked, "Did you ever have a one-on-one encounter with Hitler?" The presenter was dumbfounded and the entire school went silent like a collective "What the did you just ask?" This has got to be the cringiest thing imaginable, like how tone deaf can one person be? I was the popular kid. Developing schizophrenia tends to alter that. He sent unsolicited dick pics to a lot of girls in the school. Except he was rocking a micro penis and was wearing woman's lingerie he stole from his sister. Also asked to pee in a few girls' mouths. Ended up switching schools. Left high school where popularity mattered. He got pantsed in front of everyone and was going commando. In 6th grade that was a huge deal apparently. Lol, I would say I feel sorry for him. But he was a colossal to me. Suck it. He made varsity freshman year. Hung out with all the older kids and didn't give two s about his friends our own age. 2 years later they all graduated. Even his close friends saw through him trying to get back to being the popular kid. Edit. I should go ahead and mention. By the time we were seniors, he chilled out. Stopped being so full of himself and was a great student and athlete. We ended up getting along in the end. Not exactly close, but that's because we played opposite sports. Every hockey player played soccer too. He and his good friends played basketball and football. It was a weird dynamic cheer during football season. No one gave a about soccer. And every hockey season, no one cared about basketball. Two most popular people at my high school were dating. One day their friend posted a Snapchat story. They walked in on them and recorded the girl pegging the guy. I guess people just couldn't look at them the same. Of all the stories here, this is one where I retained sympathy for the ex-popular kids. Their privacy was invaded in a horrible way. Your friend is lucky she didn't end up in jail for distributing child pornography online. Saying the girl having a seizure looked like an electric jellyfish. Dear Lord, this thread makes me realize all over again how I'm thankful I am that I am no longer in high school. Edit. Thank you for the award. What I'm gathering from reading a lot of these stories is that I went to a very normal school with not that much drama, and I'm completely grateful for that. Got pregnant at 16 from a guy other than her boyfriend. Boyfriend was more popular than she was and overall a more likable person, so everyone who knew both took his side. She ended up miscarrying and dropping out. She told her friends that she had ed everyone's favorite English teacher. One of her friends was concerned, so she reported it. Teacher was fired and arrested and his fiancée registered sign left him. Within a month, she was overheard bragging about lying about it, which was ignored until it was proven in court that she was lying. He was released but not rehired. That poor teacher. She was a new girl who was loved by everyone when she first arrived at school. She was amazing and kind and sweet. It didn't matter if you were popular or an outcast. Like me, she would be your friend. She got in with the popular girls, but that didn't change the way she acted towards anyone. Until one day someone from her old school spread around the reason she moved schools. She had a history of bulimia and suicidal tendencies. As soon as the rumor hit the school, she became withdrawn and only spoke to a few people. Me included. The last thing she ever said to me was, "If I win my running race on Sunday, you won't see me Monday cause I can die happy." To this day I wish I had told a teacher what she said, because on Monday we came to school and found out she had killed herself hours after winning her race. Such a wonderful girl just gone from the world. She dated me. We were both in speech and debate. Both did impromptu. We spent a ton of time giving each other practice topics. And it evolved to funny crap we just wanted to see the other spitball a 5-minute speech on. Dated for 2.5 days until her popular friends found out. She dumped me on the spot. But the damage to her credibility had been done. Thing is though, she then lost all of her nerdy friends too because she dumped me. It was a lose-lose situation for her.